Okay guys, so I want to show you how I'm using a clear wax and a black wax on this frame. So this is actually going to be turned into a mirror. So I'm using the Dixie Belle clear wax and this cheap little chippy brush. These actually are not recommended for painting, but for a wax, it's totally fine. Sometimes you'll get pieces of the bristle to come out, so I just go ahead and wipe that off. So I'm just gonna dab into, you can see the texture, hopefully you can see this, it's a little bit dirty, but, so the texture of this wax is not real thick, which I really like. That's why I'm using this brand. Some brands you're going to want to, hold on, I'm trying to think. You're gonna wanna thin down the wax a little bit, just to get it so it's a little more workable. This one already comes in the consistency that I like, and I'm using a clear wax on this chalk painted base before I put the black wax on, because it gives my black wax a little bit more workability. Without the clear, it will basically stay where you put it on, and then you can't like rub it around very well. So we're just gonna go ahead and cover the whole thing. So it's a little bit of a process. I'm gonna take you through the whole thing and show you from start to finish how this goes. And you can kind of dab into the detailed areas to make sure you're getting your clear wax in there. Oh, I got something on my frame there. Probably a good idea to work with a apron on. As you can see, I don't have mine on. So I want to say welcome to my little clear wax, black wax tutorial. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully you're having a good day. And hopefully this inspires you to get out the paint and start transforming stuff. It's always fun to see what you can create with just some paint. Oop. I almost dipped into my black wax before I was ready to. So there's a couple different ways that you can apply a black wax, which is the same as using a dark wax. And I'll show that to you once I get to that step, how you can get a different look using wax. So as you see, this goes on and it looks kind of white, but once it starts to dry, oh, thing's gonna cause me some trouble. So you can see it looks kind of white, but it actually dries clear. And this really helps so that you know where you're putting your wax on. Sometimes with a clear wax, there is no color in it, and so you can only go by the sheen of that. Let me put some on the sides here. You can also use a rag when you're doing like a smooth section, like on a piece of furniture. I typically don't use a brush. I typically use just a rag. Using a sock, put your hands through the sock and use that. If you have any, spare ones in your sock cabinet. Let me spin this around. And once I get this on, then we can go ahead and use the black wax, and that's the fun part. Okay. There we go. So my messy Dixie Belle clear wax, and on this is the Annie Sloan dark wax. The Annie Sloan clear wax tends to be really thick, and so I have to thin it down before I use it, and most times I don't have time for that. So on this, just dab in like this, got that, and we're gonna go ahead and brush on. So I'm gonna show you a closer detail of what this looks like, so you can see. So let's see, is the lighting too bad to show you? how it's changed the look here. So another idea is to brush this on, and then you can go ahead and wipe it back off, and it smooths that black wax on. So my apologies that the lighting in here makes it super dark. I should have probably looked at how I was going to place that camera. Okay, so right here I'm just blending in the black wax. Whew. So here's a little trick for you. If you are doing a wax and let's just say you feel like you have too much of your dark wax or your black wax on your item, you can go ahead and use a clear wax and you wipe it right on top, and then you pull it back off with your bag. So using a color like this alters the color of your item. So if your item is just too bold in color and you're like, oh, which I got a question yesterday on my blog. And the person said they painted their furniture, but it was just too bright, and could they use a white wax to tone it down? I said yes. Now, so you can use a white wax, which lightens the color, softens it up, or if you use like a brown wax, it gives it kind of what I call it a muddy look. So it really depends on your style as to what wax you're going to use. A lot of times for me, I use just a straight clear wax on my furniture, but something like this is really pretty. And when I'm done, I will take the camera down and give you a closer view to what this looks like. Now I'm trying to rub real lightly so that I don't pull any paint off or distress this. Don't really want it distressed. Here's another little tip. When you are, let's just say we're done waxing and you found that there's a piece of your furniture or something you're working on just doesn't, some of the paint came off, or you feel like there's a spot that you needed more paint, you can go ahead and paint right over top of your wax. I think when you take the Annie Sloan class, it tells you that you should wait 30 days. Typically, most all paints take 30 days to cure. Doesn't really matter what kind of paint it is. A darker paint's gonna have more pigment, so it's gonna have a longer dry time. So let's just say you're painting your door black, which my girlfriend did the other day, and that's what I'm gonna do here pretty soon. Her paint was still tacky, and that's because the black pigment. If you want to do a chalk paint, you're not gonna have that problem. Chalk paint dries right away. So sometimes if you're using like a red paint, hot pink, some of these like magenta colors, there's so much more colorant in it that your dry time is going to take a lot longer. So your cure time, it might be kind of dry to the touch, but it's still maybe a little bit tacky. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so when I look at this, sometimes I'm seeing a little bit more of the blue base coming through, so I'm just trying to even out my tones, which is kind of fun because you can get like a multiple of color when you're doing these waxes. But you know, you have to look at making sure it's all about uniform in color. Okay, I have one more side to do, and then I'm gonna go in a little closer in my video and show you what this looks like. Hey, come back here. grab this and show you a little better what this looks like. I'm going the wrong way. This is funny, you should see how I'm holding this. Just show you how this turned out. So hopefully that gives you an idea. I don't know, maybe that was still a little too blurry to show, but let's see. Anyways, well, I do have this on my website if you want to look at it's going to be completely done. Actually, this combo I don't think is on my website. This is a new request from a customer, so I'll get the photos taken and posted. You can take a look at it on there. So that's it. Thank you, appreciate that. And gloves off means woo, work's over. All right, thanks for joining me.